Welcome to the Allured Life podcast. My name is Katie Christ, and in 2016, I wrote down in a journal that I was going to become unapologetically my best self. And my purpose is to help women do the same, whether that's overcoming body image issues, creating next level inner confidence, or up-leveling our emotional intelligence and sense of worth. I believe that by investing in and developing who we are, we can exponentially transform the world we live in. My mission is to create power and influence in the hands of women. These are conversations for those ready to rise. This is the Allured Life podcast. Let's go all in. Hello, and welcome to the Allured Life podcast. So this week's episode, I don't know how long this is going to be. I know sometimes I like a little bit shorter episodes when I'm listening. And this is just kind of a download that I had, not a download, but a contemplation that was inspired this morning when I was on a walk. But this is just kind of, I've been having some friends that are going through really hard time. And it brought up the question of like, why? Why? Why do people go through hard shit? Why do people go through hard seasons? Why is it that someone wants something so much in their life? So much. Like their whole heart, they want this. They want something for their life. They want something in their life to change, and they don't get it. And it's not happening. In fact, it's being ripped away from them in every which way. Why is it that people experience so much where they're like, I have faith this is going to happen. I have faith this is going to happen. I have faith this is going to happen. And then it's like a slap in the face when it doesn't. When there's evidence and proof that you aren't going to get what you hoped for at this time. Whether it's like not seeing the results in a goal that you've been striving for, not seeing the results in your business, not seeing the results in your body, whether that's losing weight or trying to get fit, not seeing results for things that you want in your family. That's what I want to be contemplating. And we just it's such a hard thing, right? It's such a hard thing to see somebody that you love with so much in your heart and you're like, why is this happening to them? Why are they struggling? Why am I struggling? And is it and these are, and I apologize if I'm kind of all over the place with this. I have some notes here and I just want to bring up what I've been thinking about. So when we're wanting something to happen, it's not ever when we're like, I want this, never is it, yes, you will have it. Here you go. Yet we hear things like the law of attraction. We watch the movie The Secret and it's like, your wish is my command. We hear about manifestation. We're like, just as long as you hold the energetic match, you can receive everything that you ever want in this life. And so we hear all these things about the great manifestations that just happen. And they're like, of course it is happening in this aligned time. Like, yes, it's supposed to happen this way. And then you see somebody go through something awful. And you're like, what? What? Why? Why are they going through this hard time? Why are they struggling? Why are they going through so much loss? And I wrote down scenarios of kind of like death, horrible things happening to children, cancer, infertility. Like, why? Just manifest. Just hold the belief that everything that you ever want and hold the happiness and the gratitude and it will come to you like magic. What? These things are like contrasting. They're contrasting. You're like, what WTF? I don't want to swear on this. So it's like, what can we do? Like, there's questions when that is happening in our life. When you're like, what the heck was just thrown at me? Why? Why? Why do I have to go through this? Why is my loved one going through this right now? Why? We ask these questions of like, are we doing something wrong? Why me? And then when we keep saying like, just have the faith, just have the faith, like God knows, the universe knows, like everything happens for a reason. Okay. Do we need more patience? Do we need more trust? And I don't know the answer to that just yet. But knowing and being in personal development, this is the contemplation. This is the thought process that I've been thinking about there was this beautiful analogy of our life. Our life is made up of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of puzzle pieces. So billions of puzzle pieces, infinite amount of puzzle pieces that make up our life. And we get frustrated when we have 17 pieces and we're like, this doesn't make sense. Where do these I have no idea how these things match up, and we get frustrated, right? I loved this analogy because I never thought of like, okay, our life, who we are, who we're meant to be, our beauty of what we're meant for, the life, why things happen the way they happen. There's thousands upon thousands of puzzle pieces out there. And we're really not ever going to understand why things happen until most likely the end. In hindsight, whenever that hindsight comes for us. We don't see it in the moment a lot of the times. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to my loved one? What the frick is going on here? We don't see it because we're sitting there with 17 puzzle pieces, wanting to complete this puzzle, wanting to see this moment in perfect, like, okay, now I know why this means. We get frustrated with ourselves. So I was just kind of journaling about this, and I want to read a little bit of what I was thinking about. But we've learned a lot from we've gained a lot of wisdom from past individuals. And it's looking at the men and women and the people that are most at peace in their lives are the ones that found the good in hindsight. So maybe not in the moment, but at some point they looked back, and they have the wisdom now to be able to tell us these phrases that in the moment they sound like pieces of crap. Everything happens for a reason. Find the good in everything. It'll all happen in the time, in the aligned time. Feels like crap when you're going through it, right? But it's like the ones that stay in the pain, the ones that stay stuck, the ones that are incarcerated by their path, they take the bad. They don't find the good in hindsight of it. So I asked this question and contemplated it. It was, in the moment, can we change or shift and find the hindsight by asking the question, why am I here? Can that solve everything? Can that shift it? Can that reframe our perspective of this situation? Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I going through this? Why am I? ... I think it could be, we can sit there and try and just by shifting the question, because I don't want to ask the question like, I hate when someone says like there's a reason for everything. And so then the question is, what's the reason? And a lot of the times you can't see the reason. So asking the question, why am I here? I think that will shift the perspective a little bit. Why am I here? Knowing to extract the good from it. Knowing that we are here to support one another, that there's a collective out there. So when you're going through really hard times, which if we have faith that once we get those thousands upon thousands upon thousands of puzzle pieces, that when this puzzle piece is put into place, it fits perfectly. It fits perfectly, right? Why am I here? But the thing that I think can be detrimental is when we don't when we it's those two scenarios, right? Of the past men, women, and people who we've seen as proof, who have gone through life, and there's those that have extracted the good from their scenarios, and there are those that have gone through life and extracted the bad. And I think like attracts like, right? Because there's another analogy of just kind of if what our life is, it's always going, and the only time that it becomes solidified is when we're gone. Who am I solidifies when we're gone from this earth. That's the only moment that it'll be done, complete, finite, solid, a solid picture, a solid puzzle. The puzzle pieces are all put in place at the end of our life. But during our life, as we're going through it now, it's thousand upon thousand upon thousand upon thousand upon thousand of puzzle pieces. Who am I now? Who am I at this moment that I just said now? Who am I now? Who am I going through it now? Who right now, when I say now, who am I? I'm a different version of me when I can, like, right, our present moment, there's an infinite amount of nows. Who am I now? Who am I now? Okay, I'm going to shift. I'm going to be mad. Who am I now? Okay, I can shift right now. I can shift my emotion. Who am I now? Okay, I'm going to shift. I'm going to pivot. Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? When I was thinking about that, of just kind of all these different scenarios are happening for us, and there's things that are happening to us, and then there's our reaction to that, where we extract something from it, where it's extracting the good, looking at that hindsight, asking the question, why am I here? And there's also this concept of who am I now? 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 And we don't have the answer of who I am in complete totality until we're gone. That's when it solidifies into a hard subject. And right now, we're like gas, where our particles, these questions, these answers of who am I now, who am I now, who am I now, they're infinite, they're floating, they're going, they're high energy, because they can change, they can shift. There's so many of them, and they're moving, they're moving, and they're moving, and they're moving, and they're moving, and they're moving. And then once we die, they solidify, we stop, the energy stops. This is like gas turning into a solid. Gas, water particles going from where it's steam to ice. Right now we're in steam mode. Choo choo. We're in steam mode, where we keep getting to ask the question, who am I now? 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 And we get to choose that. We get to choose that. And a lot of the times when we have these situations that are really, really hard and heavy, who am I now? I'm sad. Who am I now? I'm mad. Who am I now? I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. And that's okay to experience this. And sometimes I feel like the who am I now keeps us a little bit stuck, because it's you're justified right now to be sad, to be mad, to be frustrated, to be overwhelmed, to be hardened, to be pissed off. Like, you're justified to feel those emotions. Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? You're allowed to feel like that. But the thing that does happen is the now attracts other like nows. Sadness attracts other sadness, or kind of emotions that are similar to sadness, of frustration, of kind of heavy emotions attract heavy emotions. Versus the happiness can compound into gratitude, to joy, to fulfillment. We know this. We know this about the law of attraction. We can match up to different energy types. But when you're going through really hard things, when you're just like, why? Maybe the question isn't just why me, it's why am I the one to experience this? Why am I the one? If that's the truth, if there's like, I believe in God, but if the truth is that everything happens for a reason, that in hindsight, everything makes sense, does the question, why am I the one, help? I think it does. I do think I do a little bit. Why am I the one that's going through this? I think from there, we can almost get out of our own, at least for me, from my own contemplation, it helps me to get out of my own head and be like, if I'm the one that's experiencing this right now, how can this help other people? It makes it be where it's not just about me. It's not why me, it's why am I the one that's going to lead through this, the one. Why me to why am I the one? Such a subtle shift, I think. Such a subtle shift. But it feels to me energetically, it's like, why me keeps me stuck versus why am I the one liberates me. And it's in hindsight too, of just kind of going back to that right now, we don't know how things are going to play out. You don't know how things are going to play out. In a life that's made up of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of puzzle pieces, you have 17 puzzle pieces right now. You are handed this one puzzle piece. Instead of just sitting there saying, why this one? Can we reshift and be like, why am I the one to have this puzzle piece in my life? And what do I want to do with it? Like, what is it about this? I think too of going through and asking your question of why am I the one? Your answer to this will be telling. Because if your answer is we want to figure out, it's how do we walk with the things that were given us, right? How do we walk with them? And if your answer to why am I the one? Why am I experiencing this? Why? And if your answer is unproductive, if it's halting, if it's stopping, if it's self-deprecating, if it's harmful, that's your sign then, or that's you knowing, you creating a knowing in yourself. You got to hold yourself right now. You have to take care of yourself right now. Take care of yourself and don't walk with this. Why am I the one? And if your answer is harmful, self-deprecating, halting, stopping, it's just bad to keep walking with this, keep walking from this why, with this why. Hold yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of your human that's experiencing these emotions during this really hard time. Lead yourself. And sometimes leading yourself is just knowing when to rest, when to recover, when to just be like, okay, no, I'm not going to go keep moving forward anymore. That's okay. Like, what do you need to tend to your soul, to tend to this heartbreak, to tend to this pain? And then you know when to keep going when you say like, why am I the one? And it gives feedback, or it gives hope, or it gives something to the collective. Then you get to change your perspective that the experience that you're going through, it's you don't know what it is, but there is some good in it when you can extract it. And that's where it's like we can't see how this is all going to play out, right? But we can take the wisdom and the knowledge from other people that have gone through hard things, who say it all makes sense in the end. Everything happens for a reason. And we can take that and be like, okay, right now I'm going to walk with, why am I the one? Why am I the one? Because again, if life is just made of a now, of now, of now, of now, who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? And that could always be changing because you're always changing. Isn't it better to direct the who I am now into the good, into the hope, into the gratitude, into the light, versus feeling into the darkness? When life is showing us proof after proof after proof after proof that what we want is not coming, how do we shift it so that we can like keep the faith going? Keep the faith. I had a really dear family friend who passed away, who was a priest, that was his last phone call actually on my voicemail. All right, Katie, keep the faith. How do we do that when we're shown time and time again that faith is hard to be kept? And so that's the other question. The other thing that I've been contemplating is do we ask the question, does it help us to create more proof in what we're capable of doing to level up this faith when we ask the question, why am I ... and insert what we want? So knowing that like we're going through a really hard time where we feel ugly, we feel like our bodies are not, we feel ill, we feel rejected, we feel depressed, we feel unmotivated, we feel like we're failing, we feel like we're just energetically just unhappy. When we're losing the faith, how do we get the faith? How do we feel confident about, okay, why am I the one to experience this? Why am I the one? Can we gain confidence? Can we gain faith in that what we're going through right now is meant for us? And to extend on this, I think we can ask ourselves, we can build up right now when we have the social proof that what we want is not coming. In the past, we've felt rejected. We've seen the failure. We've seen failure. We've seen failure. We've seen a no. Nope. We've seen no. Seen no. Seen no. Seen no. How do we keep holding the faith? And I think asking the question of why am I? And then ... insert what you want. Find proof of what you've had in the past. Why am I successful? Why am I fit? Why am I healthy? Why am I magnetic? Why am I with this family? Why am I a mom? Why am I living? In asking those questions, why am I? When we ask that question, even if we're going through a really hard time where sometimes we can't see, we've been told, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. Can we ask the question, why am I ... and find in ourselves, give ourselves, the social proof that we need? Is that claiming to be the one? I think so. I think that's where it's like, this is next level self-leadership. This is hard leadership, but this is next level self-leadership, where you are thrown a scenario, when you are sitting here and wishing and hoping and praying for this belief, this beautiful scenario, this hope, this dream for you to come through, and it's no and no and no and no and disappointment and fear and failing and regret and pissed offness that it's not happening for you and shame in that you haven't been able to do it. Can these two questions help? Why am I the one to experience this? Why am I the one? Why am I the one? Why am I? It's a subtle shift, but I've been thinking about this so much. And I think this does shift our perspective a little bit. I think it can shift our momentum quite a bit. Where instead of accepting the proof of the no and 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 the no, we keep the faith. We keep the faith by saying, we're not going to get the social proof. We're not going to get the validation right now. But we can still lead ourselves strongly, really strong. This is not easy work. This is not easy work. But if our life is just made up of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of puzzle pieces, and if all we have is now and now and now and now, and we can shift in the now. Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? We have infinite amount of abilities, and if it's true that we can have anything in this world, if it's true that everything happens for a reason, can we shift our perspective right now to hold the faith stronger? How do we do that? I don't know the answer, but I'm hoping that this is a little bit of a nugget or a key to unlock it for somebody else. Why am I the one? Why am I ... And just saying the things that we want. Why am I beautiful? Why am I intelligent? Why am I confident? Why am I healthy? Why am I? Why am I? Why am I? And finding and contemplating. Don't just ask the question and just sit with it. Just write it out. Why am I? What you want, what you're desiring, what your ambition is. And create your faith. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Can that keep us going? Can that keep the momentum? Can that shift us a little bit? I think it can. So that's all I've got for you. I don't know the answer to this just yet, but this is my contemplation of this. And I'm sad for individuals that keep hearing the no and the no and the no. And I know there's so many people out there just no and no and no and no. And I do think, though, that just why am I? Why am I the one, knowing that you are meant for so much? You may not know the answer to it yet, but can you extract a little bit of a knowing and understand that the 17 pieces, the puzzle pieces that are in front of you, that's not your life yet. We're going to have thousands upon thousands upon thousands, but can just knowing and holding that faith that I'm the one. Why am I? And seeing how could it play out in your life? What are some beautiful puzzle pieces that can connect to this one? I don't know. But I do know if you're going through something hard, just I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. You're the one. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. My goal is to help as many women listening, and if this episode supported you in any way, the very best way to show your appreciation is by simply screenshotting this episode and sharing on your social media or with your friends. Or even better, drop a review on whatever platform you are listening on. Don't forget, if you are looking for any additional support, you can always reach me on Instagram at Katie Christ. See you back here next week.